What is up, people? That's right. We are back for the breakdown here on the LoudMouth MMA Podcast Network. It's another edition of your favorite breakdown show, breaking down all the UFC fight cards here on the LoudMouth MMA Podcast Network. I'm your co-host, Max Friedman, Trademark MMA, and I'm joined by my man, Big Marcel Dorf, all the way in the Netherlands. Big Marcel, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Glad to be back, like I always say. And how are you doing, man? It's been 2 weeks, right?
It's been 2 weeks, 2 long weeks. I don't like the gap in between. But hey, before we get into any kind of breakdown or anything, a big congratulations to my co-host Big Marcel and the great work they do over at MMA DNA. Have a huge recognition this week. Big Marcel, you want to tell the fans what's going on with the boys over at MMA DNA?
And yeah, we're having a deal with Spike TV in the Netherlands for Bellator events, so we can cover those events for them, doing interviews, writing some articles on their website. It's mostly interviews. So yeah, I'm just happy. Though I know I don't sound happy, but that's just me. But I'm very happy with it. But yeah, it's a good deal, man. I really like it, and the other guys are also very happy with it, and that's I think that's very important.
Yeah, well, huge congratulations for sure. MMA DNA does such great work covering the international scene and now getting to recognition and the opportunities to cover Bellator and for Spike TV in the Netherlands. That's huge and really happy to see you guys get this new promotion.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, man.
All right. Well, we're here to break down the UFC fights, and we immediately start talking about Bellator, so my apologies. But we got a fun fight night coming up this weekend, UFC Fight Night 154. Big Marcel, is that truly the number? Are we still possibly one off? I think we're good there. I think they've
You're good. You're good.
that's coming up this Saturday from Greenville, South Carolina. That's at the Bonskers Wellness Arena, June 22nd, 2019. Fun fight card headlined by a featherweight matchup between Renato Moicano and Shansung Jung. Looking at the standings for this year, we had a show 2 weeks ago for UFC 238, a respectable 9-4 on the evening for me, taking my total to 131-93. Big Marcel's making the X over on his webcam. 6-7 on the evening, 120-104. But Big Marcel still leading the way in the bonus category, 17-14. I lead the way in the underdogs category, 6-4. Big Marcel, don't want to dwell too much on UFC 238, but 2 weeks back, what were your thoughts, just real quick?
Man, I have to I have to think what Henry Cejudo, yeah, a good performance. I think it looked like he had some big problems in the beginning, but Marlon gas bad, man. Shevchenko, yeah, what can you say, man? What a knockout, right? I mean,
Yeah, she's
it
incredible.
was really scary for a moment because I lay there for a few minutes, I think. Um, you got to help me. What was more on the card, man? I already.
Cowboy and Ferguson.
Yeah, Cowboy Ferguson was a fun fight. It was pretty unfortunate, of course, that Cowboy couldn't continue. But I don't think a rematch is needed, to be honest.
Aljo Sterling taking out Pedro Munoz. Is he next at 135?
Should be, man. But I've read that Henry is out for 5 or 6 months, so they probably will do some interim
Interim
fight.
title fight.
Yeah.
Piotr Jan against Aljamain Sterling for the interim title, maybe.
Gotta say, man, Piotr Jan against Jimmy Rivera. I mean, Rivera didn't do bad, man, at all. I think, but he got dropped twice in the last seconds of the first and the second round, and that definitely cost him the fight.
Yeah.
Because I think Jan did pretty good with his striking, with his trying to picking him apart. But man, I think Rivera put on a pretty good fight himself, man, and. Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen with both guys, man. Rivera has 2 losses in a row now, and Jan, man, he can definitely fight for an interim title against Sterling. I wouldn't be surprised, man. What about you?
A lot of questions to be answered at 135. I mean, who knows what if Henry Cejudo's out for however many months. Aljo Sterling's got to be in that interim title talk if that is the direction they go.
Sure.
Nonetheless, we got a big fight card coming up this weekend, UFC Fight Night 154. Want to remind all of our listeners out there, we are the LoudMouth MMA Podcast Network, the breakdown show. You can find the LoudMouth MMA Podcast Network wherever you get your podcasts. That'd be iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube. Some great shows on the network. Not Safe for Work MMA show, Fred Kirby, Kyle Steele. Don't listen around your kids, though. Those guys have no filter. Really funny content. Just released a show about Bellator's event last week. We got MMA yesterday. Keith Schillen, Kyle Steele talking about MMA events of years past. A new show coming out with Keith Schillen and John Franklin, Sunday morning corner man. Great to see him join the team. That'll be a fun show to listen to. And then, of course, Between the Links, MMA's version of ESPN's Around the Horn. Mike Heck really does a great job hosting that show. Panelists Davidson Baker, Craig Allen, Keith Schillen. Really fun, and then one rotating every week. But the panelists keep getting beat week over week, week in and week out. Davidson, Craig, Keith, step your game up, man.
Yeah, but that's probably
Marcel's, thinking about when he gets his chance to go back on Between the Links and take maybe get a second title that he's already won.
Nah, probably not, man. Because if they want to keep, they don't want to keep losing. So we won't be invited for some time, I think.
Kidding. They don't want to catch this smoke.
Nah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. UFC Greenville, kicking things off at 135 pounds. We got an even fight, money odds-wise. Andre Ewell taking on Anderson Dos Santos Barriña. Close fight here at 135. Ewell, UFC 1-1 thus far. Took that decision from Renan Barão. Pretty decisive loss to Nathaniel Wood last time out. Meanwhile, Barriña, very well traveled. He was on a nice little run. Got him that late notice call at 145 against Nad Narimani. But he heads back to 135 for this one. Big Marcel, what's going on in the curtain jerker of the evening?
Yeah, man, this is a tough fight to pick already. I think, man. Andre Ewell, I think he had a great UFC debut, winning by split decision against the former champion Renan Barão. Tough outing against Nathaniel Wood afterwards. Anderson Barriña, short notice fight against Nat Narimani, and I think it was in Buenos Aires where he lost a unanimous decision. Man, hard fight to pick here, man. Favoring Andre Ewell in this one, probably by unanimous decision, but like I said, probably it will be the other part. It will probably Barriña because I suck at picking this year. So go with Barriña, but I'm taking Ewell.
All right, Andre Ewell. I like the experience of Anderson Barriña in this one. Good unorthodox movement out of Andre Ewell, but I like the way Barriña is fighting. I think he had a very tough UFC debut, goes back to his natural weight class for this one. Really seems to be fighting with more purpose these days. I'll take Barriña, unanimous decision on that one. All right. We got a lot of eyes on this next matchup. This is a fight at middleweight. Deron Winn making his UFC debut. He takes on Eric Spicely. This will actually be the third opponent for Deron Winn. Both Marcus Perez and Bruno Blindado Silva had to pull out. Now Eric Spicely gets the return call. Spicely 12-4 overall, 2-0 with 2 first-round finishes. Since his UFC release, he went 2-4 with the promotion in his first stint. Really strong grappler. He's always hunting for submissions, but seems like he's putting together the strike and got a knockout win in his last one. Meanwhile, Winn, a lot of hype behind him, 5-0 in his pro career. This is his first time attempting to make middleweight, something to keep an eye on. He's a shorter guy. He's only 5'5". Most notably, he was a protege of Daniel Cormier out in AKA. He was part of the Ultimate Fighter Season 27 coaching staff. I know Big Marcel was not a fan of his during that stint, but nonetheless, Winn, really decorated wrestler out of Lindenwood University. That's right outside my neck of the woods in St. Louis. Hard to call in this one. Big Marcel, what are you seeing?
Man, I think Deron Winn, like you said, he's a good wrestler. First time he's going to go to middleweight. Normally fights heavier or at catchweight. Alex Paisley, short notice fight. Has the experience in the UFC. 2-fight winning streak. Pretty impressive one, I think, against Caio Magalhães last time out in CES. Um, Man, I'm favoring Spicely in this one, man. I think he has the how do you say that the advantage if it comes to fighting the more tougher opponents. He has
Yeah,
been there,
higher level
experience. Yeah,
competition. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So based on that, I would say Spicely, and I think he probably TKOs him in the third round.
Yeah, I definitely keep an eye on that gas tank. Spicely, though, coming in on short notice here, very short notice, less than a week out. And meanwhile, Win, first time at 185. But I like his wrestling. He's faced a couple strong grapplers, got a win over Tom Lawler last time out. I'll take Win to grind out a win here, unanimous decision. I'm not sure Spicely can catch him in a submission, but man, definitely an interesting size disparity in this one because Win, a shorter guy at 5'5", Spicely, I believe, is 6'3". So interesting to see that one. These two guys matched up.
Bro, you're just afraid that Darren Wynn knows where you live and he takes you out, man. That's all.
Sure,
Just
we'll
kidding.
go with that. Next fight up is women's flyweights here. We got Meatball Molly McCann taking on Ariane Lipsky. Lipsky is a minus 270 favorite. Come back on Meatball Molly McCann plus 230. 1-1 in the UFC is McCann coming off that decision win over Priscilla Cachoeira at UFC London. We know she's tough, but definitely has holes in the game. The violence queen, Ariane Lipsky, had her 9-fight win streak snapped in her UFC debut by Jojo Calderwood. She was heavily favored in that one. Gets a little bit more of a step down in competition in this one. Big Marcel, Lipsky, Meatball Molly McCann fighting in Greenville, South Carolina. Where you see this one going?
Yeah, man. Honestly, besides a very underwhelming debut, man, I don't see Lipsky losing this one, man. I can't see it. I think there is a huge gap in quality of the fighter here, man. No disrespect to Molly McCann, but she's tough, 100%. But Lipsky's better everywhere, in my opinion. So taking Lipsky in this one, and probably by unanimous decision. But taking Lipsky 100%, I'm pretty sure about this one. But hey, you never
I'm with
know,
you
right?
too. Lipsky seems to be the more polished striker. I think she stays off her back, gets it done. Lipsky gets her first UFC win in this one. All right, heavyweight division. Your countryman, Jairzinho Rozenstruik, and my apologies if that pronunciation was bad. I'm going to let Big Marcel do the real pronunciation. Taking on Alan Crowder at heavyweight. Rozenstruik minus 220. Crowder plus 180. Big Marcel, kick things off with your fellow countryman.
Yeah, he's actually not my countryman. He's from Suriname. But
Where did I
yeah,
get that he was from? He was from the Netherlands.
the thing is, Suriname was an how do you say that? Colony? I don't know how you say that in English. When it's
Colonial?
yeah, it was from the Netherlands back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they speak Dutch over there as well.
Maybe
So
that's it because I know he speaks Dutch. That's why I must be
yeah,
tripping. Sorry about that.
no problem, man. He trained here as well sometimes, I think. So, but he normally trains in Suriname or in Aruba, and he's now at Hard Knocks for his last couple of weeks. Um, you want the pronunciation, Jairzinho Rozenstruik.
Jairzinho Rozenstruik.
Yeah, it's actually funny because Rozenstruik in English means roses, bush of roses, rosenbush. Yeah. So yeah,
And
man, this
his power is not a rose bush, that's for sure.
yeah, 100%, man. He had I think he had a tough debut, man. The first round was very tough for him, but the second round he came out guns blazing and he took him out in like a minute. Um, Alan Crowder, yeah, hasn't impressed me so far in the UFC. Also not in the Contender Series. He did well against Greg Hardy, but DQ win, yeah, it's a win, I guess, but it's not something he probably wanted to have like that. Um, I think if Jairzinho can keep this fight from the ground, he will win this fight. If he doesn't can keep it standing, then Crowder will win it. But I'm going with Rozenstruik KO second round.
Alan Crowder, the first thing that comes to mind is Dana White on the Contender Series saying, "We need heavyweights, so we're gonna take Crowder."
Yeah.
That's not exactly how you want to start your UFC debut, your UFC career. But nonetheless, Crowder, kind of a near hometown bout. I mean, he's from South Carolina, or he's from North Carolina. This is in South Carolina, so neighboring states there. 1-1 in the UFC. You mentioned the DQ win over Greg Hardy. No one wants to get a win that way, but he did. Poison Strike. I thought you mentioned it. He faced adversity early on, but came back brilliantly with a nice combination, got the finish. I think he's way more polished on the feet and way faster as well. I think he gets it done in the first round. We'll take Jairzinho TKO in the first.
Jairzinho has he started kickboxing at 6 years old, and he has a pro career in kickboxing. He went to MMA like, well, I mean, I think 4 or 5 years ago after one of his training partners said like, you got to do MMA, man. It's really made for you. So then he switched.
And that's awesome. He's training at Hard Knocks because just the quality of talent that trains down there,
Yeah,
especially in heavier weight divisions.
he's also training with Tyrone Spong in this attic. He told me so.
Man, I miss Tyrone Spong in MMA, but that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure the entire MMA community was shocked when this next fight got announced. Luis Pena, Violent Bob Ross. He is a minus 360 favorite against handsome Matt Wyman. Yes, you heard that right. Handsome Matt Wyman is back in the UFC, plus 300 underdog. Matt Wyman has not fought since November of 2014. That was a win over Isaac Volleyflag, who's no longer with the promotion, now on to BKB. But before that fight, he had a sizable layoff of nearly 2 years as well. So very inactive. Huge question mark to see how he returns here. Meanwhile, Luis Pena, Violent Bob Ross, we actually both picked him to lose against Steven Peterson last time out, but he got back in the win column. 2-1 in the UFC, and sticking at lightweight, where I hope he stays, because let's be real, that weight cut to 145, I don't think he's ever making that, and that was hard to watch. But for me, it's Luis Pena is too young, athletic, and too dangerous for Wyman on the feet. But we don't know what to expect from Matt Wyman. He's been gone for so long. I mean, the thing that comes to mind here is when Mike Swick returned from that layoff of like 3 years and took on Alex Garcia and was just outclassed altogether. That's kind of what Matt Wyman faces here against Luis Pena. Big Marcel, though, what are we going to see?
Man, I want to tell you a fun story first. So I was reading like news from the Greenville News online. I was like, let's see if they have announced new matchups, and I was looking through the matches like Luis Pena against Matt Wyman. Is that the Matt Wyman or is this a typo? I was for real. I was like, I was completely like, is this for real? So I had to do some research, and then yeah, it was for real.
Big Marcel, before we go on with your story, you were casually reading the Greenville Daily News.
Man, I know where the UFC puts out the scoop, so I just check now and then, That's
All right, just wanted to clarify. Go on.
Okay, so yeah, I agree with everything you said, man. I think Luis Pena, he's been active. Matt Wyman hasn't been active. And man, honestly, I haven't seen Matt Wyman so far this week in any video and anything, so I have no idea what to expect from him. So man, based on that, I'm going with Luis Pena. But yeah, it depends fully how Matt Wyman will return to the octagon, and nobody knows, I think, besides Matt Wyman probably. So
how's Pena get it done?
Probably by being in the octagon and winning. I think by decision, man.
I got him scoring a second round TKO in that one.
Okay.
Moving things along, we go to the women's strawweight division. Ashley Yoder, the Spider Monkey, taking on Shuri Kondo. Big Marcel's shaking his head. Is that the wrong fight?
Yeah, man. The feature prelim is Kevin Aguilar against Dan Ige, and you started with the main card now.
Yoder is on the main card?
Yeah, man. So far as I know, she is, but let me check for to make sure.
I checked 2 sources on this, Big Marcel.
Where you checked?
Yesterday.
Now, where you checked?
I believe ESPN and I think MMA Junkie.
Yeah, man, ESPN has effed it up. Let's put it this way, because Yoder against Kondo was on the main card, and now they have like 7 fights on the main card and five or 7 on the prelims and 5 on the main card. What the hell, dude? Since the UFC website changed, nothing is good anymore. Let's see.
Yeah, because usually these fight night cards they do 6-fight main card,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and right now there would only be 5 if, and I have seen that Ige and Aguilar is the featured prelim.
Looks
So
like they switched it, and the Ige against Aguilar is now on the main card. But man, I'm not sure.
we can't trust these media sources out here. Let's go ahead and continue with this order, and we'll get it out. Ashley Yoder, the Spider Monkey, picked up her first UFC win last time out against Amanda Cooper. She had been on the wrong end of a few decisions prior, 1-3 in the UFC overall. Kondo, tough out. She's 6-2 overall, 1-2 in the UFC. Hasn't shown much since her UFC debut against Chan Mi Jian, who is no longer with the promotion. To me, Yoder seems more well-rounded and improved in her last few fights. I like the way she kind of flows and grapples on the ground. Give me Yoder submission, second round. Big Marcel, where are you at with this one?
Yeah, man, I wanted to say that it's weird this fight is on the main card, but probably not. Yeah, man, picking Yoder as well. Not being very impressed by Shuri Kondo so far. Yoder looked better in all of her fights later in the UFC. In the beginning, I thought I think she got lucky to be in the Ultimate Fighter, honestly, because I didn't think she defeated
It's Jody
Escobar.
Esquivel, yeah, but
Yeah,
both ended up getting the opportunity. So
yeah.
at the end of the day,
But gotta say, man, she looks better in every fight I see her. So yeah, I'm picking Yoder as well. By decision, not by finish, by decision.
all right. All right. Well, this next fight at 145 pounds has a lot of people excited. This is a wild one. Dan Ige taking on Kevin Aguilar. Aguilar is a minus 155 favorite. The comeback on Ige plus 135. The Danimal, man, he truly seems like an up-and-coming talent to watch. And good management with dominance in Ali. This guy keeps getting booked left and right. This will be his third fight in 6 months. He has won 3 straight, 2 first-round finishes, seems to be flourishing, and he seems to be training all over the place, although I think his home base is Extreme Couture. Aguilar, meanwhile, this guy finds a way to win no matter what. I mean, he hasn't shown that lights-out power yet in the UFC that he was known for in the regional scene. I mean, 3 decision wins if you count the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series and both UFC outings, but he was able to avoid the takedown attempts of Enrique Barzola quite well last time out. Really tough fight to call here. Big Marcel, which way you leaning?
Man, it's exactly what you said, man. Aguilar could prevent the takedowns of Enrique Barzola, and I think he will prevent the takedown of Dan Ige as well. So we saw how. Listen, Dan Ige has grown. He's a great fighter, but we saw him against Julio Arce when Julio also stopped all his takedowns, and Julio classed him on the feet. So I think Aguilar, man, Aguilar has impressed me so far in the UFC. Man, he's a solid fighter. We all knew that before, but yeah, I'm fair. As much as I like Ige, man, I am favoring Aguilar here, getting a decision win.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one. I've
Me
kind of
too,
gone
man.
back and forth. Aguilar could see him winning a decision by simply what you said, avoiding the takedown, avoiding the clinch of Dan Ige. But I don't know, man. The way Dan Ige fights, if he comes to bring it, he can bring it. Give me Dan Ige with a decision in this one. Split, but man, I could see this going either way. All right, next bout, 185 pounds, middleweight division. Kevin Holland taking on Alessio Di Chirico. Big Marcel kick things off for us at 185. Oh, and
Yeah.
Holland minus 220. Di Chirico plus 180, sorry.
Okay, yeah, Alessio De Kirko, I think, looked good in the UFC so far. Only one finish loss against Eric Spicely. He lost his debut as well, but he looked solid in the other fights, I think. Kevin Holland, yeah, big mouth as they call him, is pretty funny, I think. won against split decision against Gerald Mearshart last time out. I don't think he won that fight, but that's my opinion. Um, I think the Kiriko has the advantage in this fight, man. I don't agree with the line that the Kiriko is the underdog. I think Alessio is a pretty solid fighter, and I see him winning this fight by unanimous decision.
Wow. Okay. Big Marcel going with the underdog, DeKirko, with a unanimous decision. DeKirko, like you mentioned, winner of back-to-back fights, the knockout of Olawale Bamboshe and the decision over Julian Marquez last July. Where's Julian Marquez been, by the way?
Yeah, won it as well.
Yeah. Had 2 bouts scrapped in between, something to point out. So it's not like he's been inactive. He has been in camp before since then. But I don't know. Holland seems to be a little bit more well-rounded in his skill set. Both, although the takedown defense a little suspect last time out against Gerald Mearshart, coming off those back-to-back decision wins over Mearshart and John Phillips. I'm going to take Holland, be more well-versed on the feet and control and dictate the fight here. Give me Holland with a decision. But I like Kiriko too. I think Italy's a underrated talent pool these days. And I'm excited to see Riccardo Nosiglia, the Walking Dead, great nickname, compete, I believe, this weekend on the regional scene.
I'm telling this to Al that you picked against the Kiriko.
Our boy, shout out to @Frey PHRE on Twitter. Great follow, really covers the Italy scene well as everywhere else.
Yeah.
Next fight up is ranked fighters at 125 pounds on the women's side. Andrea Lee, KGB Lee, sitting at number 10 in the rankings. She is a -225 favorite in this one against the number 11 ranked Montana De La Rosa, +185 for De La Rosa here. Great matchup. KGB Lee, meanwhile, people were pegging her as the future UFC title contender before she got to the promotion. 2-0 thus far, beat Veronica Macedo, Ashley Evans Smith. De La Rosa, though, 3-0 in the UFC, 3 submissions, briefly linked to a fight with Paige Van Zandt earlier this year, but not anymore. And that's I'm a little disappointed because I thought she probably holds a definitive advantage in that one. But I dig her fighting style, man. She's a real strong grappler. She flows well. She, as we know, her husband is also in the UFC. Mark De La Rosa competes at 135 pounds on the men's side. That being said, Andrea Lee, though, very well-rounded, seems to be firing on all cylinders right now. Should be able to win the exchanges in the feet. I'm taking her the decision. Big Marcel, where are you at on this one?
Yeah, same, man. I think Andrea Lee, listen, Montana De La Rosa has finished all 3 of her fights in the UFC. But I think Andrea Lee might have finished those 3 opponents as well. So yeah, I think Andrea Lee is just stronger everywhere than Montana De La Rosa, and I like Montana as well. But Andrea Lee for me, man, unanimous decision, and pretty decisive unanimous decision, I think.
Yeah, I'll take Lee as well. But hey, I like De La Rosa. I think she has a bright future in this sport.
Yeah, I agree.
We move up to 170 pounds, welterweight division. Really fun fight here. Brian Bam Bam Barberena, a -265 favorite against Randy Brown, the rude boy, +225. Pretty interesting line there. I believe this was broken by Mark LaMonica of the Las Vegas Journal, but Big Marcel, yours truly, MMA DNA, had this before everyone else. But who's to say how these sources get their scoops? Meanwhile, Brian Barberena, off fight of the year candidate with Vicente Luque, always exciting. Randy Brown, tall, rangy, but he is coming off a knockout loss to Nico Price. Then we know he had that late notice fight scrapped. It was a late notice fight got scrapped against Chance Rencounter, was replaced by Kyle Stewart in that one. Brown, Barberena, Big Marcel, where are you at?
Yeah, man, I think, Bam Bam, he looked good, man, in his last fight, and he would have won if he didn't get stopped in the last 10 seconds. But yeah, should have maybe shoot for a takedown. But yeah, what would Dana said about that, right? But yeah, Randy Brown. I see you laughing. Randy Brown, good fighter, man, from New York area. I think Barberena is overall better than Randy Brown, man. I think Barberena will win this fight probably by unanimous decision or late TKO.
I could see Brown having success early, but Barberena is tough. He can go forever, and the guy just doesn't. He comes to fight. He's a fighter, man. He gets the decision in this one for me. Give me Barberena as well.
And he has a surprise with the walkout music, he told me. So it's not Baby Shark this time.
Looking forward to hearing what he selected this week.
Yeah.
All right, it's co-main event time. We got a fight at bantamweight between a couple ranked foes in a rematch of a fight from 2016. Rob Font taking on John Lineker. Font sits at 12 in the rankings. Lineker 10. Lineker, the sizable minus 220 favorite. The comeback on Rob Font plus 180. Boston's Font 16-4 overall, 6-3 in the UFC. Although he's really only lost at top competition. Lineker, meanwhile, very short notice in this one. He replaces Cody Stamann. And it was interesting. Almost immediately after, he took to Twitter to talk about complaining about not getting a fight and having problems getting matched up. He gets the call for a late notice one in this one to rematch a guy he already beat. UFC 198, I believe. He got the unanimous decision victory. Big Marcel, Font, Lineker, co-main event time. What can the fans expect?
I think it will be a fun fight, man. John Lineker is never in a boring fight, as we know. Rob Font, he's a fun fighter as well. I think he had some pretty good wins against Thomas Almeida by that head kick and Sergio Pettis. But John Lineker is the top of the bantamweight division, at least the top 5, top 8. Let's say top 8. I think he belongs there. He lost a close decision against Corey Sandhagen, which I agree with, by the way, but that decision. Man, I think Lineker is too good for Font, honestly. And I see Lineker winning again, probably by unanimous decision. Font is
I've been impressed with Font's performances, the two you mentioned especially, but man, Lineker he comes forward and he's just a problem for a lot of people in this division. I'm not sure Rob Font has improved to the point where he can beat John Lineker at this stage in his career. I'll take Lineker as well. Unanimous decision. All right. Well, it's time. Main event of the evening. 5 rounds in the UFC's featherweight division. Renato Moicano. What'd you say?
Introducing first.
Fighting out of the blue corner. Brazilian, number 5 ranked Renato Moicano, minus 190. Comeback on the underdog, Chan Sung Jung, the Korean zombie, sitting at number 12 in the rankings, plus 165 betting line there. Moicano, 13-2-1, 5-2 in the UFC. I mean, this guy's a stud. He is coming off his second UFC loss that halted his win streak against Jose Aldo in that one. The Korean zombie, coming off that epic battle with Yair Rodriguez, well on his way to winning before getting knocked out, I believe, in the final second of the fight with that upwards elbow. Just something truly for the highlight reel there. And the name fits the bill. He truly is a zombie in there. Big Marcel, the main event of the evening, ranked featherweights. Who are you going with?
I wanted to say that Chan Sung Jung should have went for the takedown last 10 seconds in the fight.
The second reference to the Contender Series last night.
So easy. Sorry, man. It was too easy not to make. This is a fun fight, but it's also a different fight, a difficult fight to pick, man, because I think Moicano is much better on the ground, but Young has that standing there, that zombie mentality, I'll almost say, like crazy coming forward. And I think if they go throw ladder, then Zombie can win this fight, man. I think that can happen. I wouldn't be surprised. I think I go with the Korean Zombie, man, in this one. And that's I've picked that one right now because I'm torn with that one for the whole week so far. So that's my gut feeling. Korean Zombie by TKO in the second round.
I think this fight comes down to whether or not Moicano can kind of keep the distance, use his range, use his feints and his good striking, the striking skills that got him those wins over guys like Calvin Kattar and Jeremy Stevens, very tough outs. Or whether Korean Zombie can do what Korean Zombie does and make it ugly and be that zombie in there. And man, even though he's been so inactive and he's really been, it's been a while, but this guy is just so fun to watch, and I think he gets it done in this one. I think he gets a decision, just doing what he does there. I'm kind of surprised to see you went with him as well, but I'm going to take him on the decision there. But great bit of matchmaking here at 145. I'm really excited for that one.
Yes.
It is bonus time here on the breakdown. And Big Marcel, kick things off with your underdog of the night. Your options are the Korean Zombie, Alessio Di Chirico, or Eric Spicely.
Let's go with Alessio.
Okay. My options for underdog of the evening, Korean Zombie. Also have Dan Ige, and that is it. I'm going to go, I think I got to go Korean Zombie in this one, with my underdog pick of the evening. Lock of the night is going, I'm going to go first on this one. I'm taking Suriname's own Jairzinho Huizenstruik. I think he gets it done over Alan Crowder. Big Marcel, who is your lock of the evening?
Violence Queen.
Violence Queen, Ariane Lipsky, getting it done there. All right. Big Marcel, performance of the night bonuses. Hand them out.
Korean Zombie. And let's think. We had more. Yeah, Jairzinho Rosenstruck. Let's go all in.
Yeah. I'm going. Let's go Huizenstruik and Violent Bob Ross, Luis Pena. Okay. And then fight of the night. Last category, Big Marcel, kick things off.
Lineker against Font.
Lineker against Font. Okay.
No. Aguilar against Demnige.
Ooh, okay. I got a sleeper. I'm going Barberina and Randy Brown. I mean, Brian Barberina, when was the last time he was in a boring fight? Doesn't happen.
True.
All right, so let's recap these picks.
Against Colby Covington.
Valid point there. Let's recap these picks. We're split on the first fight of the evening. I'm going with Anderson Barriña dos Santos. Big Marcel's got Andre Ewell. Split on the next one. I'm taking the newcomer Deron Wynn. Big Marcel's got Eric Spicely getting it done in his UFC return. Both have Ariane Lipsky. Ariane Lipsky is Big Marcel's lock of the night. We both have Jairzinho Huizenstruik getting it done over Alan Crowder. He is my performance of the night bonus and my lock of the night. He is also one of Big Marcel's performance of the night bonus winners. Both taking Luis Pena to get it done over Matt Wyman, the returning Matt Wyman. Pena is my other pick for performance of the night. Also, both have Ashley Yoder getting it done over Shiri Kondo. Split on the next one. I'm going Dan Ige to keep up his streak. You are taking Kevin Aguilar to remain unbeaten in the UFC. Split on the next one. I'm taking Kevin Holland, move to 3-1 in the UFC. You are taking Alessio Di Chirico in attempt to win his third straight. Both taking Andrea KGB Lee to get it done over Montana De La Rosa. Both have Brian Barberina getting it done over Randy Brown. That is my pick for fight of the night. Both have John Lineker to take out Rob Font as well in the rematch. Good move to 2-0. And then both have Korean Zombie taking the upset over Hanato Moicano. That is my underdog pick of the night. I missed Big Marcel's underdog pick, which is Alessio Di Chirico, as well as his fight of the night pick, Kevin Aguilar and Dan Ige. The Korean Zombie he has to get a performance of the night bonus winner. Big Marcel, final thoughts, feedback as you rock your new, fresh haircut. Anything you think of for UFC Greenville?
No, I have nothing left to say, honestly, man. I'm happy the UFC is back this weekend. Yeah, actually was back yesterday, but I mean, and not a Contender Series card, but just a UFC card. I'm happy they're back.
And while we're on the topic, the Contender Series returned last night. I know many of them were excited. The two of us included there. Puna Soriano and Yorgan de Castro walk away with contracts, but big point of the evening seemed to be what many think is a snub of Brendan Loughnane, a guy was on the Ultimate Fighter, the Smashes, many years ago, 7 years ago, I believe, fought once in the UFC, kind of been all around the block, fought with ACA, fought in Cage Warriors, fought pretty much all over the place. Big Marcel, what were your thoughts on the evening as a whole and as well as with Loughnane?
Man, last season Dana ruined my evening by not signing Chris Curtis, and this season he started ruining the season again the first week by not signing Brendan Loughnane. And the funny thing is, I picked Bill Alger to win the fight before, so I'm not biased by any means, but Loughnane deserved the contract, man. It's just stupid, and I'm actually not even pissed that he didn't get it, but the reasoning behind it's stupid, and that's why I was pissed about it. And I'm happy more people in the community, not just the fans, but also the media, is saying something about it. That is stupid, you know. There are some media who keep licking Dana White's ass or saying like, yeah, you can find a reason not to sign him. You always can find a reason not to sign someone, right? But this was so obvious. Was probably like Nolan said, this is probably one of the best fights of the Contender Series on paper, and I agree with him. And it was a great fight, man. It was a good fight. Aljo fought well. Loughnane was just better, and he won the fight. And going for his takedown, 10 seconds left. Should that decide if you get a contract or not? It's just sad, man. To a certain listen, it's not always he can say I only want finishers, but do you really think if you have certain guys who finish? I don't say Jorgen de Castro isn't not good, gonna do good in the UFC. I don't say that because I think he deserved the contract. He did great. He was the biggest underdog on the card, and he stopped Alton Meek. So yeah, good for him. I'm happy he got the contract. But if you see, for example, he's it's already how it's built the card, man. I mean, the best fight on it is Aljo against Loughnane. You agree with me or not?
100%. And
Yeah.
those are two of the most
What?
experienced guys, too, competing against one another. I mean, two guys who've been in there that many times, chances are you're not going to get a finish because both are so crafty and so experienced. They're not going to get finished, and especially in that showcase. And guys who have fought in some of the top regional promotions, Loughnane's fought in the UFC already. So
Yeah.
it's something like that I guess kind of irks me, and especially because we've seen great fights go to decision on the Contender Series where there were contracts handed out. And quite personally, I don't think the Brandon Davis, Austin Arnett, or the Benito Lopez, Steven Peterson fights, as good as they were and yielded contract winners. I thought this was a better fight, and I thought Loughnane did more to deserve a contract in that fight than either of the two that were awarded in those fights.
Yeah, and just for example, this was the best fight on the card. Why is it not the main event? That's already saying something to me. You know, they put Puna Soriano in the main event because he has a high, he has a bright prospect. You know, he was undefeated, and everybody knew if he won, probably he would get signed. And I have no problem with it because he is definitely a good prospect, and he's still young. You know, but if you compare his performance again with the Loughnane performance, you can't justify a contract for him and not giving it on to Brandon Loughnane. You know, that's my
No.
opinion.
Absolutely not. And if there is any silver lining, I mean, two examples that come to mind, the door doesn't seem to be closed. I mean, Julian Erosa last season got that big win over Jamal Emmers. He gets the call. He doesn't get the contract on fight night, but gets the call a few weeks later. Season one, Mike Santiago finished. Mark Cherico doesn't get the call that night, but gets the short notice bout a few weeks later. So hopefully, Loughnane gets one of these opportunities and gets signed to the promotion soon. But man, that was hard to see and hard to hear Dana White give him kind of that criticism there, because what a close fight, what a great fight between two established, experienced guys. And quite frankly, I thought Loughnane put on the best performance of the night.
I really don't understand it, but I think nobody who watches MMA understands it, man. I mean, we want finishers guy who stand and bang. Dude, you probably have to go to bare knuckle fighting or something, or do something else. But and Dana has expanded his contract for 10 more years in the UFC. Man,
Yep.
that's sorry to say, man, but that's horrible. That's really horrible. Literally, this is my opinion, and maybe people don't agree with it, but I really have the feeling like Dana has something like I made MMA and I can break MMA whenever I want. That's what I always have the feeling with him. I'm not going to defend him because I still think people in the media are very afraid of Dana White for some reason. And I don't think people should be afraid of him. Yeah, I understand if this is your work, you do that 24/7, and you don't want to get your credentials revoked or whatever by saying certain stuff. I understand that, but don't take everything someone does, and definitely if it's not the right thing. And just, man, I will always back the fighters because I think without the fighters, there is no promotion, in my opinion. So I will always back the fighters.
Yeah, me too. All right, Big Marcel, we'll have to do another discussion on Contender Series alone. But before we get out of here, let the people know where they can find and follow your great work.
MMADNA.nl, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, MMADNA, and my personal account, Big Marcel24, for
The
all the
best out
updates.
there.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's not true, but I really appreciate it.
You can find me, Trademark MMA, on Twitter. Not as much doing as much writing these days, just some other priorities, but always here on the Loudmouth MMA Podcast Network with my boy Big Marcel over there. We'll be back next week to break down UFC Minneapolis, UFC on ESPN. Looking forward to that card. But until next time, thanks again for joining, and we will catch you later.